welcome to the War Room Roundtable. We are so glad that you were tuning in today. We are just going to sit and chat and kind of go over things that we're currently working on, some tips and all the things like that. So, yeah, thanks for joining us.
So Dean, what have you been working on lately?
Well, I've just taken over as a content director for a magazine in Portland called Edible Portland.
Nice.
So it's good. What I am charged of, I've got to find $100,000 worth of advertising.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been mentioned
there.
a few times.
No pressure.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is the magazine comes out 4 times a year, but that's
Quarterly?
just one. Yeah, that's just one part of it. So there's a website. And they have no idea about content, what to do. So we're interviewing, we're doing podcasts,
How to get more exposure for the magazine itself?
Well, the magazine is a part of it. So they want to get advertising. So 4 times a year, kind of your windows.
Advertising for the magazine inside the magazine.
Yep, the magazine, online,
Yep.
the whole thing. So there's really kind of 3 businesses there. You've got your magazine, you've got your advertising for all of it, and you've got your website that's going to drive content, YouTube channel. So it's just a whole big, being a part of the community as well, being the difference when you're trying to get into a place that is, when you've got a big name,
Yeah.
doors open,
Right.
and that's what they want. They want to be the big potatoes, because it went out of business probably 3 or 4 years ago, probably 5 years ago, and it had a great name. So it's allowed all these other magazines like Eater and all that to come here. So they want to kind of not take it back, but the owners, ex-chefs, I'm a chef, photographer, filmographer. We've got our sommeliers writing, so it's going to be different. That's our point of difference. We're really all from the industry. And so we've been just doing all of that. So
I love that.
my second week, it's kind of a monthly contract. Oh, it's a job. It's full time. So I've got to do a lot of stuff for them.
So what kind of content are you going to be looking to shoot? On-site at restaurants?
It's just the whole process. Say for an example,
Food trucks, food carts, things like that.
anybody who's doing anything great, growing, producing, cooking, distilling, anything to do with food, wine, spirits here in Oregon, we're after.
That's really cool because it's like the entire supply chain.
Yeah.
It is. And the thing about it as well is it's not just, it's just on the content, it's how you use that content. So for example, the New York Times came out last week, top 20 restaurants to eat in the US. One of them is called L'Orange, down here on 11th Avenue. So Chef Joel, we go there, we do an interview for the podcast. That's one kind of avenue. I go back next week and I do some recipe picks, which are going to be available for people to go online. So you're driving content, you film him to death, you hang out in the kitchen, you do B-roll. So you've got stuff for X, Instagram, Facebook, all with the Edible Portland kind of banner to drive people to your website, because you've got to give something for nothing. So they can go there now and get great recipes and be a part of it all. You know what I mean? And so tomorrow we're down at Vineyard, which is great, and then it's just constant like that. So it's about going in there and really go. And my role is to go in there and go, right, we need to hose this guy down with pixels.
Yep.
Because I got to, I'm a savage when I'm in there. I just take over. So
I can see Dean being a big, loud, savage guy in there.
Always him down.
You know me as a pussycat, so I can be fluffy. You know me as Fluffy, but there's another side to Fluffy. And that's what I do. So I go in there and go, okay, we need a podcast, and I'll write the script, and I'll say, okay, where are we going with this? Where do you want to go with it? And then I implement it, because the people I'm working with are great. It's all new to them, so
They need direction.
And as well, content you can't waffle.
Yeah.
You got to go, okay, here's a tip, here's a recipe, so people can get their information, get a bit of fluff, and then kind of move on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it.
That's a really cool project.
Super cool project.
Yeah, that's really
3 days a week, 2 days a week, one day editing. That's nice. So the other 3 days
I love it. I want to talk more about that offline, about for this battle restaurant thing that I'm putting together.
Yeah, it's lovely. I mean,
it's a good marketing tool.
And I love food and wine, so I know it's a bit like, it's an area that is, you can just walk in and go, no, this is bollocks. We need to. Can we say bollocks?
Yeah, we can. They don't
Sure.
even yeah, we're in the US. We can say that.
Because I'm the one who's going to edit it out. Here we go.
We just think it's funny.
Yeah, so you can just, and that's the thing, you're trying to be not. I can't tell you the amount of times I've turned up at a job to shoot a famous chef and the reporter said to me, "Do you know this guy? What can I ask him?" So we're not going to go down that path. It's going to be different.
Yes.
So
I love it.
yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and the nice thing is you can, like if you're doing the winery, you can always backlink it, and that will actually increase the SEO for the
That's
website.
it. It's all about like
Supporting them and each other.
supporting everybody.
Yeah.
So like everybody involved is good, and they can be making butter or bread, or they can be a Michelin star chef. It doesn't. We don't care. The only thing we care about is that they're really good and passionate. So
Right.
we just then everyone's along. So we just kind of all
That's fun.
looking after each other. So it's going to be good.
That's a lot of fun. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
You're impossible to follow, to come in after you because you're so much fun and energy. And I'm thinking, well, what's going on? What am I working on? Well, payroll, HR, workers' comp.
That's
So
unreal.
fun.
It's like following the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. And what I've been working on, though, we're at the end of October. And so it really is not just figuratively speaking, but October, November, December is the fourth quarter in the 4 fiscal quarters. And right now, business owners that we're working on are with what we call our master group health plan. So employers are making a lot of their financial decisions for Q1 with their CPAs, their bookkeepers. They're establishing their new relationships contractually, fiscally for the next year. They're looking at their costs. So I'm having a lot of questions right now with employers that are looking to get healthcare. They're wanting to explore healthcare costs. Some of them, are really looking at as business owners to get healthcare for their family members first, and then be able to allocate it to the rest of their employees. So more and more employers are looking at the master group health plan going into quarter one. We're really ramping up our plan. It's a company sponsored plan. So it's employers that would be coming onto our payroll for payroll and HR and workers' comp, and then we would just be extending our Cardinal Group health plan to those employers. That's what it's about. It's getting them a large group healthcare plan at a lower cost. So I've been asked this for 30 years from my customers. Well, gosh, you work in multiple states. You must be like Costco. Can you get us a lower, healthcare plan?
Which you should be able to if you can net it all together, which is what you're trying to do right now.
Yeah, and through Regents, Blue Cross Blue Shield. So, and it's really the first foray or experience for many of the business owners to see what that cost is like versus just going to a broker that they really don't know, and then they're getting denied and they don't.
Or you
really
also
know
don't
what
know
the
what
prices are.
actual coverage you're getting long term. You don't have somebody there helping you. And for a small business owner, it's a huge competitive edge to be able to offer insurance to your employees.
Mhm.
Huge competitive edge.
So a lot of things that I'm working on right now are based on the economy. Costs have gone up across the board for groceries and materials, whether it's any kind of materials for restaurants, for shipping and receiving, for contractors, for engineering firms. And the cost of doing business has gone up because wages have gone up. And so employers are paying employees more money. And as a result of having to pay employees more money to retain the talent, to keep them engaged and wanting to still work with the employers, they have to be able to offer these types of services in order to maintain their talent. So employers are just trying to keep their head above water to pay their people enough money to retain them, and then also offer them a healthcare plan. So we're working on that. And also I bumped into a fellow that owns a CPA firm that has some financial backing from hedge funds, and he's gobbling up and buying several small area mom and pop CPA firms, and he's wanting to get a relationship with somebody like me that then could be communicating and partnering with these CPA firms all over the Oregon and Southwest Washington area. He's based in Vancouver, and he's going to be needing services that we all provide. So that's what I've been really working on, has been developing this relationship with this CPA that just kind of came out of the blue. And it helps me because I work with multiple employers. So
I think
that's where my leverage has been over the past couple of weeks.
I know for me that's key. I mean, having a good CPA, but having multiple CPAs to tap into, especially because, right, because Gabrielle and I went to conference last week, and that's one thing that they were talking about, what we've been talking about in my demographic is how the financial industry, especially CPAs, is what they're calling like a dying breed, because all of these people are retiring or getting ready to retire, and there's not enough youth coming in to supplement.
Yep.
And so they're saying that by 2027, the average annual income of a CPA is going to be well over $300,000 because the demand is going to be so high.
Damn, I'm in the wrong field.
I tell you, the wrong field. I can't wait to add that service on in a couple of years. It'd be perfect timing.
And having those connections at that high leverage, that high level area gives me leverage, and vice versa, that they need my services to be allocated to their customers that they're absorbing. And then conversely, I need him to be able to refer businesses to me that need those services. So they're going to need connections with insurance. They're going to need connections for content, for IT, and for bookkeeping. So to me, it's developing the relationships that then develop further relationships. It's getting a relationship, not a transaction. So it's an opportunity to sell fleets of automobiles to businesses rather than just selling them one car. It's really about relationships. So that's been fun.
That's awesome.
Gab, you were just at a conference?
I was just at a conference, and actually Victoria was there too, which was really
great.
great. It was in Philadelphia. And yeah, it was actually a culmination of all this work that I've been doing on the nonprofit, sitting on the finance committee, and then the last 2 years, treasurer, 2 years before that by proxy, and developing a culture of strategic planning at a local level that is now being embraced by the national organization. So much so that we got recognized as chapter of the year.
Yeah,
we get to receive grant money. I just got the email today from the national board that they wanted to confirm our ACH banking info.
Yes.
So
Nice.
I'm like, let's go. That's the last feather in the cap before I can let the next generation of
There you
finance leaders come in to shine. So that's really exciting. But also, Victoria and I got Circle of Excellence with Women in Insurance and Finance, which was really rad, and celebrates income.
Yeah,
So-
especially because it's so hard. Women at our level, right? We suffer about anywhere between 15 to 25% of the salary in our same bracket as most male counterparts. And so to be able to come together and really celebrate these women who are hitting levels that are just, out of the water. One of the ladies that I connected with hit the highest awards, that's over $2 million a year. And of course I was like, okay, me and you need to talk.
Yeah. And their names are on the board, so you know how to find them.
But it was really great talking to her about what I do and having her from the financial advisor standpoint, because that's really what she does in her business. She owns a financial advisor board. And to listen to where I'm at right now and to her go, wow, that's really great. If I was there at that point, I'd probably be making more money today. She's been in it for 15 years, getting her to that point. I'm hoping it won't take me 15 years to get to that point.
Right.
But just those tips and tricks, things that I hadn't even ever thought about adding on to the business, that she, from that financial advisor side, was like, hey, you could do these things because you're already giving them this financial knowledge, because I never want to add on more services.
Like one, what give an example that you thought was really exciting?
Like more from the financial advisor side, certain types of like certifications and things that I can do to then add that and enhance some of those things to my clients, not necessarily giving those services, but understanding that need for that service and to be able to help plan that way. And just different thought processes I hadn't thought of before, or just more likely to get that reassurance that I'm on the right track.
Right.
Right? And that what I am doing is unique. There is not a lot of us out there that's using bookkeeping as a tool, right, to teach financial well-being and financial knowledge. So that is really great. So to hear what you got there. Ooh. Ooh.
No, you're right. We'll cut it just there.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, perfect.
And then an old fashioned
Thank
appeared.
And yes, Steve
Can
is
I
drinking.
actually have
All
one of
right.
those too?
Yeah.
I got what, 10 minutes? I
No.
got 10 minutes. You can have the rest, Steve.
Start early.
There you go. I'll get the next
You're
one.
gonna make me go sit through a dumpster fire.
Yeah, so what else have you been working on?
I got a great contract over the last month, so that has been just absolutely revolutionary, change-wise, to tack It's about implementing things that I wanted to do for a long time, really implementing the virtual CFO package. But now thinking about how can I streamline those packages to make it accessible for other people that need it but might not be quite at the level that this company is at. Right. So how do I hit that in between and give them those when they start to hit that $1 million, $2 million, and they need more strategic planning, but in a simple way. One page, not 15, not a deck, right? And just and so now I've been thinking about that even on a smaller level for like these small businesses is how do I turn my marketing into like 1 page marketing sheets, 1 page business plans, so that these people do not feel overwhelmed, but they're still having all the knowledge and tools that they need to drive them forward and duplicate that. So how do I streamline everything I'm doing and make it easier, simple, and replicate that over and over?
And then you just recently did it in your presentation.
I did.
Literally the calendar.
I did do it in my presentation. The same one. How did you know?
In
I recognized it.
In Philadelphia, the presentation?
No, for BNI that I did because I was just kind of streamlining all of those processes to make them the same, right? And just duplicate it all over. So that has been super, super fun on top of actually like getting this nonprofit that I've been wanting to do off the ground. So that's all coming in the next couple of months, but that's been a passion for the last 13 years. So to see it actually come to fruition is
Waiting until tomorrow?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it?
So we're gonna do it'll be a web. I've really thought about this for the last 13 years, right? So I thought about, okay, how do I promote and help and support mental health and suicide awareness and that type of stuff? But I think that over the years, it's become more than that, especially coming from my background. I come from very major means, extreme poverty, right? And so a lot of those things really kind of benefit and I think about that when I'm thinking about other things. So I've decided to make it more of like a hub. Starting with the website, a place where you can find mental, physical, and financial support, and at the local level. So my dream is to one day have it per state, and then you can click on that and get things like Good Samaritan, where you can get free therapy, right? You can get free counseling, you can get free food, you can get strapped with housing, you can get job finance, you can all these things that actually contribute to mental health and making mental health harder, which often leads, right? Because suicide is just a side effect. It's not the main cause. So we got to hit back to the root causes of like destigmatizing mental health, making it just healthcare. And how do we do that? We have to have a platform because everybody who's suffered with mental health will tell you, I have no idea where to get help. There are no resources. You can't get this, you can't get that. And so how do we find a place like it's a one hub? And so that's the hope, is to make it one hub and then to do these community events, right? Where we do like color runs, or we do, come on, you're good.
Have lunch ready.
Yay, we'll take lunch. Yeah.
Sure.
So how do we do all of that and just make it this hub for everybody? So I'm excited. It's really a lot of fun.
But that's really exciting about waiting until tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree.
And getting that off the ground. That's like a huge thing.
It's huge. It's like such a passion. It's like it goes back to like when I was a child, because I always had these like dreams of like, I'm gonna open up like a youth homeless shelter. I'm gonna do like all these things about being passionate about helping back the little me, that didn't get the help. And so like I'm gonna do all that, and then it just kind of has just evolved, and now I see it coming all back together, and it's kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
It's also really weird thinking about how to actually speak about my life, because I spent so long of my time like putting that in a box and not talking about it.
Sure.
So like now being that open and like that vulnerable it's weird.
Yeah, that's hard.
It's weird. It still makes me want to cry. It's weird.
And then you're going to have speaking engagements left and right. So
I know, that's the point. I'm so excited. And using TAC as a vehicle for the financial side, right? So I can donate tax time for financial help, hoping to like kids like 16 to like 25, be able to teach them like, how to draw your checkbook and how to get a loan and how to combat credit and
That's right.
how to do all these stupid things that nobody teaches us how to do.
Yeah, they don't teach you how to do that.
Like, don't.
Checkbooks have got a balance.
No, as long as you have checks, you're good. That's
if you
what.
need some checks. I've got some.
You tell people checkbook and kids are like, oh what?
Oh, what?
Oh what? Like back in the day, your grandma, you ever seen her? She flips through a thing, she writes in it.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
I got checks. So.
How about you, Steve? How's things been going in your world?
Chaos in a making is what I'm going to say. So first, Dean and I did a podcast, and yours dropped I'm going to do that today. So yours is going to get posted. But we went out to a competitor of mine.
Love that.
And we're in his office, and Dean did a great job. We were having some technical difficulties because it's very close to the airport, and
There's a mobile tower right outside the window. Couldn't get any.
the mics weren't working because it would just be like,
And it wasn't something like usually you go, I can filter that out. There was no filtering this out.
no filtering that out.
Sounded like a swarm of bees.
I had one up filtering them two out. Just keep the fuzz.
Yeah. They're talking, but I can't hear a word they're saying.
Yeah.
So Dean did a great job on getting that taken care of. And then one of the things that you were talking about with medical and HIPAA and doing a big thing. So I was called into they're a T&M client, time and materials. They're hourly. They had a breach.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Because they had pretty much nothing. And so I got to undo all of that and get them cleaned up and put a firewall in place and get some antivirus on all of their machines because they didn't have anything. And because they were running Macs. Macs don't need an antivirus. Of course they don't. No. Why do no. So put all that in place. The issue is that they have to report that.
Right.
And
For HIPAA compliance.
but for HIPAA compliance. And so now they're looking at a fine.
Oh yeah. That,
It's going to be heavy.
And it's
Oh, yeah.
for each person.
Yes.
Correct. Per each. Exactly.
Medical record.
Yes.
Per each medical record.
Correct.
Yeah.
For each. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're going to look at a pretty hefty fine, and they're not really happy about that.
Yeah.
I can't help that.
Is it their first time?
It is the first time that they're aware of.
Yikes.
But the fact that, when you fill out your form that says, hey, we're HIPAA compliant, you have a checkbox.
Correct.
It says you have a firewall. Check. You have desktop protection. Of course we do. And you go down this checklist, and if you don't do that, or if basically you're saying that I'm compliant with all
You're
of
in
this.
breach of contract, is what you're saying. Yeah.
You're in breach of HIPAA compliance.
Right.
And so they're not going to be very happy about that.
So listening to your friend talk, Steve was asking him, what are the things that can give you the most bang for your safety buck? And the guy says exactly the same stuff Steve's been banging on about for like 6 months, change your password. He was like listening to a shorter version of Steve.
Yeah, I'm laughing because Dean's laughing. I'm laughing because this is exactly what I've been talking about
Yes.
for the last. And it's just been, it was funny because he was
It's
talking
amazing
about.
how it happens when they hear it, right? It just changes when it happens to them. But so many people are like that. So many people are reactive and not proactive.
They're
and
very
that's what
reactive.
happens.
Yeah.
And you never know, like, who knows what their insurance coverage, if it actually covers the
Oh,
thing.
cover it.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Because the
yes.
insurance will say,
No.
do you have these things? And they're going to go, sure we do.
Until they get that, and then they go, no, you don't, and
No,
then
you
there's
don't.
no coverage.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you violated the terms.
Or they're
Or they just like don't have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's important to make sure you ask your people
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
the coverage works.
I think that goes for so many businesses, all right, is making sure that you're surrounded by that person that can take really good care of you and has your best interest in mind. Because if we're just throwing dollars at a business hoping that they're going to take care of us,
Right.
Yeah. It's, so.
that's why I talk about how much I hate QuickBooks payroll. Like I hate it. Like I hate it. I hate it so much. Like I hope they hear me. I hate you all. It's the worst.
We're going to need to get a lawyer.
Check.
What's an opinion?
I'm sorry. My
Like,
opinion is that they do not give you good customer service, nor do they help you well.
Okay. Should we say
This is
allegedly?
opinion.
They don't
Allegedly.
give us good service.
Gil, keep talking. Please keep talking.
It goes into that perfect thing is that when you have an issue, if you can't pick up the phone and talk to somebody, how do you get those issues corrected, especially if you don't know anything about that field, right? And that's exactly what happens. in that scenario. Hence why I say don't do that. Use Cardinal Services, because you're going to get a person, they're going to help you, and they're going to take care of you. And da, 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 da. I can sell Eric better than I think Eric can sell at this point. Everybody needs
But it's the
Eric.
right solution for the clients.
His
It is.
Cardinal Services cost is going to be lower, if not the same, as any other competitor out there.
Mhm.
But they're going to take good care of you. They're going to give you good service. They're going to help you if you have an issue. You're not going to get that from most payroll providers.
And they audit per pay stub.
Yes,
There's no annual audit.
correct.
So when people get giant bills that they didn't expect, that's not a thing anymore.
Correct.
Yeah.
100%.
And there is something to be said about what we're doing collectively is that they're the businesses we're working with, they're getting us.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of it. It's a local flavor. It's a local representation. We're in the communities that our businesses are serving. So that's a big plus, is that personal touch
Yeah,
that
you
we
don't have
have.
an 800 number, you get an
Each of
actual
us.
person.
That's correct. That's correct.
And that goes for all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, I can say she's one of the only people that I know will pick up the phone and actually help you with the things that you need if you ask. I know I have a lot of clients like her, and they don't do that.
I was at a client this morning, and she had a pipe break in her house,
Mm-hmm.
and she has a different insurance company, and they're not responsive. They don't answer the phone. She's in a phone tree that doesn't ever, get you anywhere. And I'm like, hey, I got someone that, could help you out with that. And, they're local. And if you need to go to their office, they're sitting at their desk. You can go, choke them if you need to.
We're often the scary people, though. We're the people that are so scary, because I often
You're
say,
scary?
I'm
Oh yeah.
What do you
Financial
mean?
services?
Financial
For
services
sure.
is scary, because
Or the people in suits?
Or just think about it. If you're walking down the street and like you walk into a business and they're like, open up your wallet and show me how much money you have in your bank and how much are your credit cards, you'd be like, right? You would never do that. But that's what we ask. We ask that you open it up. What they don't realize is, like, it doesn't matter if the number is 10,000
That's
or
right.
200 million. It
Yeah.
does not matter to me. I'm just looking at numbers.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I never look at the amount and think like, oh, that's what that person is worth. Well, okay, there's no one to talk to. Whoa. But normally, it's not like that. It doesn't matter to me, because it's just a number. Is it done correctly? Are they all there? Is it where it's supposed to be? That's all I really care about. But that's scary.
Well, I mean, I'm listening to all of us talk, and it's really analogous. It's the same thing. Businesses don't want to, they think they're covered, but they're not. They think they're protected, but they're really not. And they're scared to really ask that question.
Until something bad happens, and then you go, shoot.
I need more content. I want to promote my company. And then, they're afraid of what the actual cost is going to be able to do that. So they take the path of least resistance and don't do it. No different than what you explained. Same with me or with
Or
you,
even-
or with to come full circle with what Steve was saying.
Or
If this individual had just checked off some of these, if they had really followed
Or just the
through on
two
some of those
them, right? Like what
recommendations.
Dean says all the time. Like they automatically see what Dean does and they go, whoa, you're way too expensive. They haven't asked him how much it is.
Mhm.
They haven't inquired with him. They see the work and they go, wow, that work is amazing. He must be top tier. I'm not saying that he's not top tier, that he's not worth it. But think of the investment that you're getting with him long term as with somebody else on the streets. It's worth the investment because you're just going to do it anyway, right? Long term, you're going to end up spending that money, and you're probably not going to get the same return that you would have if you would just have done it the right way. Same with IT,
Well, and the thing
and it's
is,
not that expensive when you break it down.
Well, and I do a free assessment.
Correct. All of us do, I think.
Correct.
I mean, I'll do come in, do a free assessment, tell you where your holes are, and give you the report and say, if you want me to do it, great. If you don't, that's fine with me too.
Correct. Yeah, I only charge for the work. Knowledge should be free.
I think there's a service. There's a service that we can provide to everybody. It's just a matter of what. Well, let's see what we can do based on that budget. And then a lot of it does have to do with the relationship. The more that we communicate with our community, the more educated they are, the more comfortable they are.
100%.
So it's how it does come down to the individual that they're communicating with. If they feel comfortable, they'll let their guard down and tell you everything. People are vulnerable. They just have to have that trust.
Yeah, of course. Once they know that it works, they are definitely more trusting. But in the beginning, I get so many clients are like that. I'm scared, never seen, right? Fearful.
A lot of them are talking to you like this, and they're really non-verbally shut off, and they're scared.
They're scared.
Yeah, and I understand that. I
But
do.
when you get in there, they're so far behind the 8 ball.
Yes.
You need 6 months.
Yes.
Because the damage is done.
Oh yeah, that's what this new client that I took on. He's like, "How long?" He was like, "What do you need, Victoria? Money or time?" I was like, "I need both."
You know, a lot of people,
Money, time, and effort. You got it.
To fix all this.
you know, people don't go to the doctor unless they're not feeling well. You know,
Yes.
so you know, I deal with pain and suffering and stress and anxiety every
But how do
day.
we become the physicians they check in with?
Yeah, and that's what you want is they only come to you when there's an emergency or there's a limb that needs to be extracted. And so, you know, I want to be able to make them feel more comfortable when we're working together. So that's the biggest thing is that vulnerability.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what makes us so different. Right? You have to be honest. You have to be you. Oh, all conference talk. You have to be genuine. You have to, right? That's what sets you apart. I mean, that's the number one thing I always took when I used to do sales and marketing is what makes you different than your competitor? Well, number one, me. You don't get me somewhere else. Duh.
At a minimum. Like,
At a minimum.
Go over there, hang out with them. You'll want me when you're done, trust me. But I'm going to take care of you. You can't guarantee the same from them.
Yeah.
Even if we have the same product, right? I invested in you. That's the difference. I think that all of us are like that. That's what makes us an amazing team is that we're very vested in our clients, but more vested in the community. And how do we fix that internal struggle that we all have as
This didn't just happen overnight. I mean, it's still evolving. And so our relationships, where we are today is because of our relationships 3 or 4 years in the making. And it takes time to dig through a lot of mud and dirt to get to the gold. And
But
so
we've also been very honest with each other, right? How many people do you get, especially as small business owners, like in your life that you can be brutally honest with? Right? Like, I mean, we are honest with each other. Like, I don't understand that. I don't know what that means. Tell me something else. That's BS. Like, there's not a lot of people, especially in your business world, that are like, "Hey, Victoria, you're totally full of it right now." Or I don't understand your message. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it challenges, I think, all of us, and that's what makes, I think, at least my relationship with you guys so meaningful to me. Is that it's real business partners. It's people who are really truly vested, and not just in each other, but in growing the communities. It speaks to everything I started TAC for.
Yep. I think it's actually pretty rare to find other like-minded individuals.
100%.
And I feel like we're so lucky to have found each other.
We're crazy, is what we are. But yeah, we're
we're passionate
Sort of.
about it.
And then
Cheers.
he was like, I'm doing this podcast. We should do a podcast. And all of us are just like, should we though?
What could go wrong?
And even the restaurant person that's helping us, you know, she was mentioning she and her husband, they love podcasts. And so she's really eager to, you know, get online and hear what we're doing and things like that. So people do listen to podcasts. So we're trying to break down barriers and build up our communities. If our employers are sick, we want to get them healthy so they can be profitable, so they can focus on growing their workforce and growing their brand. And if they're successful, we're successful. I'm
That's right.
passionate about helping people become successful. So.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's the best part of what we do.
All right. So I'm going to say a Q4 tip because we're starting Q4.
Yeah.
All right.
I can start.
All right. Q4 tip. Go.
Okay. So Q4 is really the season of which that ideation, that the like goals that we're going to be doing in 2025 are going to be coming into fruition and getting those ideas on paper, because December is when those things need to kind of be cemented. So that way, starting January 1, you can be implementing the action items from which you want your goals to take place. So I love Q4 personally because I just feel like it gets to like the core of who I am, of that overall strategic planning, getting that business plan prepared, prepped, vetted out with your teams and your boards. Hopefully you've got them. We found each other, so that makes that really great. But I love Q4 because it's a November, October. It's the ideation, the creation of those things, and then December is like putting those goals on paper.
I love it.
Yeah,
Dean?
There's also a lot of drinking in Q4 as well.
that's true. That's also helpful. It's like
That's not my tip.
pre-funding the fiscal year.
When in doubt.
I think everyone's selling something in Q4. Everyone's hitting the social media in Q4. We've got this banquet, we're selling this is a special, buy this. I think keep your message simple. Have some romance, have a call to action, and have a hook.
Mhm.
Keep it under 20, 30 seconds. Keep it clean. Get a little bit of animation in there. Bob's your uncle.
I love it.
Q4 for me is January 1, the clock resets to 0. And so it's a completely clean slate. So we are onboarding all new businesses for Q1 for January 1st. Much to what you said, Q4, you're looking at what got you to where you are now and what is it going to take to get where you need to be in 2025. So I'm completely in line with you with that. So we are going live with new best of breed payroll software that's going live right now. And it's just a very exciting time for our employers heading into Jan 1. So really the next 2 months are mission critical, getting businesses ready for the first of the new year. The clock resets at 0. So
I like that.
it's exciting.
Yeah.
So Q4 in IT world. So this is a good time to check your backups, check your batteries in your UPSs, check your batteries in your smoke alarms because you don't want to fire, and set your budget for next year for computer replacements or adding computer hardware. So,
Yep, which is part of that strategic planning, right?
which is a strategic planning.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
How did you know a Q4 tip was going to be make a budget?
Snacks all day.
Make a 2025 budget. I don't care if
There's a
it's
budget.
5 things: income, a couple of expenses, marketing, IT, hopefully insurance and payroll, and
A lightsaber.
a lightsaber because everybody needs a little bit of love in their life.
Everybody needs a lightsaber.
And the real ones.
Make a budget. It's so important. Make a budget. Stick to it. Check it every quarter, every month if you can. Make a budget. Do it now. It's worth it.
And we need to thank the golf club.
Yes.
We do.
Yes.
We thank Oregon Golf Club for letting us be here in this pretty little swanky spot.
Thank you, the Oregon
These
Golf Club.
beautiful
Yep.
views.
Up here in Westland on Pete's
Wonderful
Mountain.
lunch.
Right.
Great drinks.
Good.
By the way.
Oh my
Beautiful.
God. Yeah, I was like,
Beautiful fireside
this is
chat.
really good.
Yeah,
Old fashioned. Really good.
We're in the trophy room. They had it all set up for us. They got a round table especially for us, and I'm hoping that we'll be back here again. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
This is a
April.
great spot. Thank you, April.
Thank you, April. Great drinks.
And now we are on to lunch.
Yes. Lunch.
That's it.
I've been wanting to say that for half an hour.
Really?
Oh my God, I'm sleeping.